Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, The Courageous Walk. I am Jonna Reynolds. Today, we will be talking about grief during a pandemic and self acceptance. My aunt recently passed away, and so I have been going through the process of grief, and I've had some time for, some self exploration, some introspection as I go through this experience. And I thought I would share it with you. So, over the years, as a clinician and as a friend and colleague, I have supported many individuals and families as they have experienced, all forms of grief, whether it be loss of a loved one due to death or other kinds of loss. And I personally have not experienced the loss of a loved one, as a result of death. And being aware that each person experiences grief in their own way. And I just had no idea what my process would look like. And so I really, in some ways, I was so busy at work that during the week, I didn't really have time for processing or really focusing on that experience. Um, in fact, I sort of went into caregiver mode, trying to support others. But then the first weekend, I sort of just gave myself the freedom to experience whatever came. I wasn't quite sure, but I did give myself that freedom, and nothing happened. Like I felt sad. I thought a lot about my aunt and the memories that I had of her over the years, particularly when I was younger. And then the following weekend was immediately after her funeral, which was virtual. And so I have very few memories of attending an actual funeral. And so it was really interesting mourning the loss of a loved one for the first time while also doing so virtually. And as due to the COVID restrictions, travel, because my aunt lives in another country, so traveling to get to her, and then their quarantine restrictions and so on just did not make it feasible to attend. So it really was a weird sort of experience, and I guess I expected there to be more of an emotional, not necessarily a breakdown, but more of an emotional experience because I've experienced heartbreak before. So I know I have a sense of what happens for me personally when I've experienced that type of loss. So I assumed it would be similar or would be like other people that I've observed. And that weekend, I literally felt nothing. I it was mostly I have stayed in a state of shock and I guess to some extent denial. But the one thing that I realized that I was really struggling with was what is the appropriate way to experience and express grief? And if I am not experiencing grief, if I'm not emoting or feeling overwhelmed by this loss, as I assume I should feel based on all the people that I've worked with and how I've observed other people, what does that say about me? So I found myself struggling with how I was grieving. And it really took conversations with, close friends and family to process how they were experiencing this loss, how they've experienced loss before. Because even in my immediate family, we have not experienced that level of loss. So I don't even have the mirror of, like what it looks like for my family members to grieve. And yeah, so it has been quite interesting, that even though I've done so much work on my self value, my self worth, my self esteem, that these types of feelings could emerge in another context. And yeah, so I think that, again, work on your self value and esteem and all of those things are a constant process. And I just wanted to say that there is no one way, right way, appropriate way to grieve or to express your feelings. I tend to be more cognitive. And so a lot of my experiencing of this grief has been very intellectual, focusing on the rituals of the funeral and sort of like really thinking through, trying to understand this process. And it doesn't help that the genre of television shows that I watch, there's so many, because it tends to be like murder mystery. So there tends to be lots of funerals. And so it's, juxtaposing that I watch, fictional funerals on my computer, on my television. And then here I am watching a funeral, a real one, but again in the same medium, and trying to reconcile fiction versus reality. Um, and then the questioning of like, well, so how should I respond? So I think this is an interesting journey for me as I explore my own grief and try to understand what it looks like for John. And while keeping in mind that there is the tendency of wanting to perform or to experience, um, different events the way it seems like other people are experiencing it. So this is a journey, self acceptance, and how you personally experience different events in your life is so unique to you. And I'm fortunate that I don't have to external pressure from anyone, sort of deciding for me or questioning how I'm grieving. And that could be also because we're not physically present with each other, right? To really be able to compare and see how other people are experiencing this. Um, but really, I just wanted to share like that has been my experience. And I wonder if there are other people who have this, this type of experience. But be encouraged. There's so many of us that are experiencing all sorts of loss. And your way of experiencing it is yours. And as long as you are open to experiencing the process and not running away from it, that is really all you can do. And don't forget to seek support from others so that you don't have to do this alone. So thank you all for listening. I look forward to our next video. Have a good day. Don't forget to like and subscribe.